Welcome, welcome. Thank you for watching. My name is Sabrina. I'm a nutrition therapist and a nutrition response practitioner. Today I'm going to talk about something I get asked a lot. Why do we need to sleep? So let's get to it. Sleep is an essential part of our physical and mental well being. The amount of sleep that you need varies depending on your age. The younger you are, the more sleep you need. And that's because when we sleep, we do a lot of growing when we're young. So if you want to be tall, strong, and smart, go to bed early and get some sleep. Sadly, when we don't get enough sleep or we sleep poorly, it can lead to a bunch of health issues. And the worse you sleep, the worse your health is. So there are signs of sleep deprivation. Just to name a few: falling asleep while reading, watching TV, in a meeting, in the classroom, when you're sitting down talking to someone, which I've done, or while in traffic for a few minutes. So let's talk about our body and what happens when we try and get some sleep. So in our body, we have an internal clock. It's called the circadian rhythm. And what it does is it keeps track of the cycle of alertness and sleepiness, and it's dependent on light and dark. There's an area in our brain called the hypothalamus, which processes signals when our eyes are exposed to light or dark. When it's light outside, the mechanism in our body is triggered to become alert, and it releases a hormone called cortisol. And as natural light disappears in the evening, another mechanism becomes activated and it releases another hormone, and that's called melatonin. So one would think, okay, problem solved. I can't sleep. Let me take some over-the-counter melatonin, right? Well, wrong. Sadly, that's not the way we do it. And I'll explain why. So let's touch on that. In our body, we have a hormone called tryptophan, which is a precursor to a neurotransmitter called serotonin and another one called melatonin. Tryptophan makes serotonin, and serotonin has a whole bunch of jobs, one of which is to control our mood, pain, appetite, and sleep. And serotonin makes melatonin, and melatonin is in charge of controlling our sleep and awake cycle. So, if you take melatonin, you're taking away tryptophan's job of creating serotonin. And you also take away serotonin's job, which is to make melatonin. So what we ultimately do is we make tryptophan lazy, and it stops making serotonin, and serotonin stops making melatonin because we have an overwhelming amount of melatonin in our body. So can you see the never-ending loop here? If you take melatonin, your body says, okay, so then I won't make tryptophan. And if you don't make tryptophan, then you don't make serotonin. So, that's a conundrum. But your body becomes incredibly unbalanced because you're feeding the end result. Okay, and one more thing. Did you hear me when I listed what serotonin does? It controls your mood, pain, appetite, and sleep. So, have you ever noticed that after a few days of not sleeping well, that not only are you cranky, but you're eating everything in sight? And mostly it's sugar and caffeine because you're trying to stay awake, right? And then at night you're exhausted and maybe, just maybe you get to sleep for a couple of hours. Sometimes you can't. And that's because you're exhausted by the entire day of eating all this sugar and caffeine. And yes, some people say that caffeine does nothing, but you know what? It revs up your body. The sugar and the caffeine revs up your body. But not only your body, it's revving up the serotonin in your body. And the serotonin is on overload, and it can't find what it needs to make melatonin because it's too busy trying to digest what you just fed it all day long. Okay, here's a good example. Think of your body like a train, a coal train. So a coal meaning, to fuel the fire. So let's say your body's a coal train and you're throwing coal into the engine all day long. Boom, boom, boom. And then suddenly you need it to stop. But there's too much coal in that engine fire. So it can't. It keeps on going. You can't just stop it suddenly because that fire is roaring. All right, so let's summarize really quick. Tryptophan makes serotonin, and serotonin makes melatonin. So what we need to do is we need to keep it all balanced. So I'm going to stop it right here because that's a lot of information. But I will do more sleep informationals in the future. And I really hope you learned a little something about how important sleep is. And if you suffer from sleep issues, please, please, please make an appointment so together we can help improve something that is so vitally important to your health. Okay, I hope that was helpful. For more tips and tricks, check out my other videos, and you know the drill. Like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Now, go out there and rule your world. Stay fresh.